Hey, Tim Ryan from Sprout Video here. What if educational videos could do more than just teach? What if they could ignite learning? Today we talk with Ethan Anderson from NOLA Education to learn how. Ethan Anderson, thank you for joining us today.
Tim Ryan.
How's it going?
Good, man.
I'd love to share with the audience a quick little catch up on what you've been up to and kind of what led you to where you are today with Star Academy.
Been involved in technology in education for going on now 26 years, 27. Prior to that, I was a software developer, had a software company with my brother. I started an independent media production company. I realized that there was a lot more opportunity to express myself as a UX designer, user experience designer, than as a media producer. That led me to I Can Learn Education Systems, where initially hired as a UI designer, adding high fidelity video to these lessons, their efficacy increased. These became much more effective in the classroom, much more engaging. So flash forward to about 3 years ago, the core management team of the I Can Learn system created a new company. And that company is Star Academy. We're back on our mission to change education in the United States, starting with the lowest performing school districts, targeting specifically students that are most likely to drop out, very sadly, most likely to probably end up in prison. A win for us is just a classroom where students are showing up. Most of these classrooms that we target, they've got like a 50% attendance rate. What this new program does is it really cranks up the engagement. So instead of it just being a screen-based experience, it's also a desk-based experience with STEM toys and tools and rocket ships and volcanoes and just all sorts of really cool stuff that they've got to do with their hands, increasing engagement to the point where these students are like, man, I can't wait to go back to school tomorrow.
Oh, that's so cool. So are you seeing an increase in attendance?
Dramatic increase.
Wow. All right. So you talked a little bit about boosting engagement with learners. Right. Can you share with our audience a handful of techniques or tactics that you all use to help drive engagement?
You have to focus on the consumer of your video, first of all. And you got to know that consumer very, very well. Is you need to understand your user. Who are they? How much time do they have? When they're not watching your video, what are they watching? What do they generally expect to see? What sort of patterns are they comfortable with on the screen? Colors, contrast, speed. That process applies both to the way you design an application and the way you produce a video. The goal of a really good user interface design is just to get out of the way and let them get the work that they need done quickly.
How do you learn what their
That's a great question.
Interests are and how they consume media?
The answer from a UX perspective is user research. Go out and talk to the users. Like, what did you think of that? What did you like? What did you not like? You'd be surprised at how many people do not do that. And it's so remarkably simple and it's so incredibly invaluable. They're going to bring something up that you hadn't even thought of. They're like, I don't know where to find this button. And so what we have found in our case, either pick up the phone and call somebody or go sit and watch somebody watch your video, or any number of simple observational question-based things that you can do in 20 minutes can, I would say, double the efficacy of your videos, maybe even more.
How many observations or subjects would you say you need to evaluate or assess?
There's actually solid science on that. And I have to go from memory here. I read all the books and went all the seminars a long, long time ago. But if 1,000 user research session brings you to 100%, you can get to like 70% by talking to 5 people.
That's powerful. And that makes it easier for folks to go ahead and do this kind of market research and to interview people. And so I'm a kid, I'm in the Star Academy and I'm maybe in the physical classroom. What would be an example of a class structure?
Our program is completely turnkey. We come in with the technology, with the furniture, all of the kits, all of the supplies, critically revolving around paired learning. So we actually prescribe 20 students in any one of our classrooms, but we only provide 10 desks. They're big desks. Each one of those desks has a big experiment on it. And so these 2 students will sit down at one desk, and for 7 to 9 school days, they will work together, just this STEM wonderland going on, almost like an amusement park.
Wow.
Where each desk has got lasers going off or crystals and volcanoes exploding and cars going on a racetrack.
What is it about pairing that makes it effective? Is there some
Yeah,
methodology,
well, that's a
maybe
good
some
question.
science
And
behind that?
to be successful, you have to know how to interact with other human beings
Hmm.
and cooperate and collaborate. The continued development of social emotional learning, or SEL.
Yeah.
It gives them a taste of what would probably be a professional work environment.
So we've talked about the multimodal form of learning with Star Academy. Can you think of some examples of how this approach and video specifically has helped these kids learn more and just create
Oh,
a
absolutely.
better overall experience?
It's driving engagement, right? That's my goal. Can't we get these kids excited to go back to school tomorrow?
Mhm.
We send out teams to interview students and instructors pretty frequently. The sad thing is these are kids that are like 12 years old, resigning
Wow.
themselves to the fact like nothing's going to happen for me. Them explaining how like I'm no longer looked at as the dumb kid. I'm no longer looked at as the kid that has to be in the remedial class anymore because literally I only had to do this for 6 months. And now I'm back up with my peers at grade level, outperforming them. It all starts with us just doing whatever we can to hold their attention long enough where
Mhm.
something starts to click and they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. I want to come back tomorrow.
So then how does Star Academy kind of evaluate the performance of, I want to say the overall program, but I'd like to stay focused on
Focused
video.
on video, right?
Yeah,
Engagement. And
that's
engagement is
right.
very critical to us. The big light bulb for me is that I could apply these well researched and founded concepts for developing software in the user experience process to video, leading and lagging data analysis. The leading, we are basing our assumptions on how to build this product based on industry best practices. Now we got to bounce those ideas off of a small set of users or viewers. If you've never done it, you may not know what resonates with those watchers. After that video has been published would be the default place to look would be quantitative, right? How many thumbs up do I have? What does my Google Analytics dashboard say about this video? What's my bounce rate? And we make a lot of potentially impactful decisions about our business or the effectiveness of our product based on that dashboard. You can also do qualitative independent research again after it's been published. Follow up surveys and the follow up conversations, in our case with our students. What'd you think of this lesson? You like it?
Hmm.
What'd you think of this course?
Hmm.
If we properly structure our user testing, quantitative and qualitative,
Hmm.
I can almost guarantee you to like a 95% certainty that this will be a successful product. Keep that in your mind as you produce any product, doesn't matter what it is.
I think one takeaway for the audience watching this is that analytics, it's not a perfect science though. And so you have to use your gut. You have to follow up with questions and kind of get the qualitative follow ups as well. It's about constantly testing, trying to A B test when you can.
Absolutely. Well, that's
And
the old
so,
adage. The old adage is quantitative will tell you the what,
yeah,
qualitative will tell you the why.
yes. So now let's talk about product development, product management, and the use of video. And so, how do you use video to showcase and prototype different features?
It's a great way to get something close to what it's actually going to look like at the end of the day without spending 3 months building it before you're even able to test it. I could take a still image of an application that may have been designed by a UI designer, or I may have designed it myself, and I would then cut it up into pieces and I would animate it in After Effects. You know, keyframing a mouse moving around, clicking a button, a window would open, click the button to close it. There weren't tools to do this automatically back in the day. There are tools that do this very well now. That was 4 times more effective, maybe 10 times more effective at getting buy-in on a design than just showing a static mock-up.
Wow.
So a picture paints 1,000 words, a video paints like 10,000 words. And to this day, anytime I'm either proposing a new application or if it's a new video or whatever it is, if I need stakeholder buy-in, I'm always creating a video.
This is proprietary, maybe sometimes confidential information in school systems. Are there certain protocols you have to follow for
Oh yeah.
security?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
it's a nightmare because this is PII, right? That's
right.
the personally identifiable information. All of the media that we deliver is through our LMS. And
Yeah.
to use our LMS, you need to have a student account or a teacher account or an administrator account. We've got testing servers, we've got different things. So we can actually show our prototypes of new lessons to stakeholders internally on a system that none of our external customers have access to. That's why these services like Sprout Video are
Mhm.
generally the better approach, right? Because this is a pretty important thing to do for your consumers, right? Like,
Mhm.
we need people to see this, but only certain people, only for a certain period of time, and I need to have close control over it.
What I'm learning is it still falls back on really good storytelling,
Without a doubt.
and it becomes really evident if something is AI created. And
Right.
so in some applications, it's fine, like for some lighthearted social
Sure.
media, maybe. But for education, I think there's a ways to go before we can depend on it for.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all things, all the tools, everything changes, everything gets better, but it's not the arrow, it's the archer, right?
That's
It's
right.
if you don't have a really interesting story to tell, or you're not, in my case, you're not basing this on a solid foundation, educational foundation,
Yeah.
making sure that you're not losing their attention and their focus, and you're provided to them in a structured way. Doesn't matter how fancy it is,
Yeah.
it's not going to do very well.
Based on your experience and our audience, maybe they're trying to find ways to become more efficient or be better at creating engaging content. Any words of wisdom, any parting thoughts when it comes to
Yeah,
what are some things people consider?
this is a new generation of consumers of media.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want 3-minute videos like you and I used to make 20 years ago. They
Right.
want 15 and 30-second videos. Maybe it's an evolution, right? It used to be that learning online was a very long process with 30 and 45-minute videos 15, 20 years ago. Let's invent micro learning. Let's break this down into 10-minute chunks. But I think we've gone even further
Wow.
with the idea that this generation, for the students that I'm targeting, it's like the TikTok generation. Then I would say spend time understanding how AI is impacting the automation of rote tasks. When looking to AI as a solution, not look at it as you press the button and the perfect TikTok video spits out the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It's how can you engage it as a creative thought partner at the beginning? Help me decide if this is a great story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Help me structure this story that we've agreed is a good story. And then how
Mm-hmm.
can you engage it to automate rote work that requires no intelligence and no creativity at the end?
Mm-hmm.
How can you help me automate this process that I've got to spend 10 hours doing so I can do it in 10 minutes?
Ethan, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Man, this
absolutely.
was like so informative, and I've learned so much, and I think the audience is going to learn a lot about better ways to package up e-learning to make it ultimately more engaging for students, because that's really
Absolutely.
what matters the most. So thank you so much.
All right, Tim, good talking to you.
And cut.